Hello, everybody. My name is Basilio Mendez, and I'm the founding online editor of the Golden Gate University Race, Gender, Sexuality, and Social Justice Law Journal. And today I have the pleasure of meeting with Octavia Carson.
Hi.
Hi there.
Here. So happy to be here.
Gracing us from DC. I am here in San Francisco. And rather than have me sing your very many praises, why don't we begin with your road to becoming a lawyer and what brought you to law school and ultimately entering the profession?
Yes. I would say that I started off wanting to become a lawyer kind of in a superficial way when I was about 8 years old. People told me I argued well. They said lawyers make a lot of money. It's a nice living. So I'm like, yeah, gonna be a lawyer, just a little kid, little 8-year-old, not knowing anything. And then as I began to grow older and get more experience working with the community, my school actually mandated that we do volunteer hours at like a soup kitchen or something like that. And they would take us every Thursday to to do our service work. I began to see like different injustices. I mean, I already felt it within my own community and at home, and just like growing up Black, I knew that there were a lot of injustices happening, and that being a lawyer you could help people through those things, or you could eventually pass laws to change it. Um, so then that became my reason for wanting to become a lawyer. I wanted to solve systemic injustices. I wanted to like help people who were being oppressed, help people who couldn't afford an attorney. And so I started to like see something that was more meaningful out of, this journey of wanting to become a lawyer. And I ran with that. I went to undergrad for public relations, and then I got out of undergrad. I wanted to go to law school. I couldn't afford it. And I really didn't want to be in a ton of debt. So I went to the Navy, right? Just like totally left field. And finally, after the Navy, I was like, yes, time. It's time to go to law school, because right around that time you started seeing, Black Lives Matter movement just really gain speed, and just the need for it um, was really important. And so I was like, as an attorney, I could help people, whether it be in criminal justice or immigration, which I'm doing now, or I actually believe in a thing called creative justice. So
Hmm.
people who work in the arts, um, helping them with trademarks, contracts, things like that. So um, in general, I was like, I really see I could be useful, a public servant basically as an attorney.
Hmm.
And I ran with that, and I've been very fulfilled so far.
And that led you to San Diego for law school.
Yes, so because I was in the Navy, I was stationed in San Diego at a base there, and then I stayed and went to law school there.
And
Mhm.
how was your law school experience?
I would say uh, it was great in the sense that I had like a weird list of things that like I wanted to get done. You know what I mean? Like a nerd list. I was like, I want to work at several different types of internships. Like I wanted to have the firm experience, and I wanted to have a bigger firm experience, smaller firm experience, and I wanted to have I want to work for a judge. I wanted to be an extern. So I had two externships. I had a small boutique firm experience, and then I had a larger firm experience. And then I was a TA. I remember I wanted to do that. That was like on my list for civil procedure and criminal law. And then I wanted to be on law review, publish a note, and uh, become editor in chief. Like that was on my list before I went to law school, and I got it all done. So it was great in the sense that I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Um, but then it was frustrating in the sense that I thought law school was going to be about, yeah, you're going to learn the law and history behind the law and things like that. But are you going to talk about how we can like make it better and
Mm.
change things, or how the law has been specifically used to oppress people? So we need to use it to, address those things, those disadvantages that came from that. No. If you want to talk about people's disadvantages and how to elevate people after they've been systematically oppressed, you need to join a specific group for that, or take an elective. This is not the main course. You know what I mean? So they throw all this sadness at you, and there's like no feeling of it's going to be fixed.
And it
So
really wouldn't take very much effort to kind of implement a critical race lens to the study of law.
yes, my professors
You
didn't
want to do
really.
that, that's on your own time.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that the professors that I had a knack for talking about, things involving critical race theory, and they wrote about it in their own journals and books and things like that. But it just, there's no room for it in the curriculum when you're trying to teach to the bar.
Mm.
Like, the bar is not going to ask you these questions. So why take so much of your time learning about it when it's your ultimate goal from law school nowadays is to pass the bar? So that's why I was, disappointed with law school, because it was just like, just a lot of teaching to the bar, standardized test teaching. um, and another thing, just the lack of minorities. Like, I'm like a triple, quadruple minority. And so just, there was like not a lot of people like me. And so I kept to myself a lot. Um, I did have a couple of friends here and there, but really I just, went to school, came home, did what I had to do. I didn't do too much, interacting with my classmates, because I didn't feel very like, I didn't feel welcomed in a sense. Like, a lot of people just didn't really understand why I was so frustrated with some of the things we were learning. And rather than like listen to me, they'd rather, like argue about it or say something that was even more offensive.
Mm.
And so I'm just like, keep my opinions to myself, or either write them for my note. I'll write about it in my note. So
Which is something
that,
that a lot of people of color experience. I'm not getting what I need here, so I'm just gonna, nose to the grindstone and check off all of the things I'm told I'm supposed to check off,
mhm.
and more because I'm a person of color and I need to do better and be better.
Exactly. Yeah, I
Um,
felt like I had to be the top of my class to earn respect from a lot of people. I mean, my school also gave an incentive, like, for if you become the top of your class, you get more scholarships. But I also felt like, pretty much an underdog, especially my first internship was at a firm. So at the larger firm. So I walk in there, short black woman, they're looking like, is this person the secretary, or some like high school student that's just here to like shadow? They're not looking at me as someone who's like, in a couple years, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be sitting at a table with you all.
and who, by any measure, is a remarkable person. I mean,
Thank you.
you're a remarkable person. I mean, just beyond your resume.
Thank
Um,
you.
you know, oh, yeah, of course. I mean, anybody would be foolish not to recognize that.
Thank you.
And on top of just the accomplishments, which there are many. Um,
Mm,
you mentioned like the levels of um, how you feel in the minority.
mm,
Layer on top of that, as both of us are 2020 graduates, we
mm.
can add COVID to
Yes.
that litany of sorrows that we had to overcome.
Yes. It
There.
was very sad. It was like mourning
Mm.
several things at the same time. And like, I lost my godbrother during that time. He didn't pass away from COVID, but He had passed away. And so like I'm mourning losing my graduation, not being able to see my family, not being able to be close with people that I love, not being able to like study and take the bar at the time that I wanted to take it so that I can like get that out of the way, have time set aside, then go to work, losing all mourning normalcy, you know, mourning losing that, mourning losing people. And then at the same time, watching my community be devastated. I grew up in a primarily Black neighborhood, and man, COVID tore through it so bad. Just left and right. Every time I turn around, I get a phone call, such and such down the street, this whole block, there's all these people have COVID and they're dying. Like my mom works at a funeral home. So she was saying like that was the busy she does hair. So like she does hair for the living. You know what I mean? She couldn't do it at the beginning of COVID because they shut her hair salon down. Everybody had to like not have their businesses open and stuff like that if they were kind of like public facing. And so she was working at the funeral home, her supposed to be side job. It became like a full-time job because there were so many people passing away. So yeah, the onset of COVID was devastating in so many ways. And I think even more so for people of color, because we bore the brunt of it. You could see it in numbers, I had the experience, I felt it. But you can see it in the numbers as well.
And I too lost actual classmates as well.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and some family members. So I can relate, and I really appreciate the pain that I can hear through in your voice, because all of these things that you had worked so hard for, and that we as a class had worked so hard for, like you mentioned, had just kind of been taken away. And you don't do all of these things for a ceremony at the end, but the ceremony's nice. And it brings your family together. And
yeah, it's one of the best things that you can have for what'd you say?
For everyone else.
Yes, for everybody else, for people who haven't seen what having a lawyer in the family looks like. Like that experience, and like me having younger siblings, they need to see that to be motivated for themselves to chase after their dreams, whether it be going to college or chasing after their own entrepreneurial dreams or some sort of trade. They need to see like, what it feels like to be celebrated for accomplishing something. Because that will happen for them too. But we didn't get that. And you can feel it in my voice because I'm still 1 year later, I'm still grieving and mourning all of the loss.
And then through all of that, you had to study for the bar. And so you and I actually, we've never met.
Right. Not in person.
All the viewers. We're
pocket friends.
Exactly. Like we're pocket friends. We only knew each other through Twitter before this conversation that we're having now. And I think that's wonderful. That's one of the beautiful things that's come out of this situation, to use the lightest of possible terms, is, you and I and a lot of other people that we've come in contact with were really struggling with, how do we study for a test? For me in particular, I was like, how do I sit here and answer multiple choice questions that don't matter for anything when my husband, who's a nurse, is going to the hospital every day and dealing with COVID positive patients and coming home to comfort me because I had a hard day studying.
Woo-wee, you said it all in one. That is, you shouldn't have had to deal with that. And people like to say it's out of our hands. That's the biggest problem with a lot of the oppression that goes on. I include the bar exam in a piece of oppression because folks who watch this need to, do their research and see for themselves that the bar exam came out of, the whole reason for it was to gatekeep in like the worst possible way, keep people out who look a certain way. But anyway, it's like everybody who is a part of these systems, even when they're put on notice, like, hey, this system does not it's not serving us currently, and it's actually hurting us, and it's, you know, causing the pandemic to be even worse of a problem for some people. They say, oh, it's out of our hands, this is what the law says, you know, these are the rules for the bar association. No, you have power, you
You're the
are
ones who make the laws.
exactly. So we went to judges, we petitioned them, we said, hey, you know, we know, you know, the Supreme Court of the state of California has power to change this. Can you please change this? And we told them our stories like yours, and they were just like, it's nothing we can do. We need to protect the public. We are the public. We are the public, and you are hurting us. You are hurting us and our families, and it's going to have a ripple effect. But I think that's something that we're going to continue to deal with for a very long time. I'm so incredibly sad that we had to go through a pandemic to uncover this, you know, uncover these um, extreme problems with our profession. But we're here now, and we're going to be dealing with it
Yeah.
straightforward, you know.
Another shocking story that comes to mind, and I'm sure that you've heard of this, but some of our listeners may not have. There was a young woman who reported that she actually went into labor after the first day of the bar exam, had
Mm-hmm.
her baby, took the second day of the bar exam,
From the
and this was celebrated as some amazing Herculean.
hospital.
And yes, it's an amazing thing that she did. She shouldn't have had to do that because, as you said, like the layers of oppression that are not spoken of just within that situation, you know, she is about to be a lawyer. I'm sure that she planned her pregnancy so that she would not need to worry about having a baby during the bar exam, which
Mhm.
is normally in July, for those who are not aware,
Right.
and that in California was delayed to September and then again to October.
Yes.
So this young woman, despite her best laid plans, ended up having a baby in the literally in the middle of the
Literally
bar
little
exam.
bar.
All of the news reports are like this amazing young woman, this strong woman.
No.
She
The
shouldn't have had to do that.
the strength that you should celebrate is like bodybuilders who choose to go out and be strong and like build muscle, blah blah blah. You put her under pressure, like you literally. When I say you, I mean the state board of bar examiners, the committee of bar examiners that put together the test, administer the test, and the state Supreme Court. You put her through this, and you had so many opportunities to stop it, to even offer layers of different options. You could have given some people diploma privilege, which is the ability to practice law based off of the fact that you graduated from law school and already passed exams in every single subject that's on the bar exam for the most part, you know? And
Some states already do.
right. And then on top of that, yeah, some states already have diploma privilege. So it's not like it's
Unprecedented. Yeah.
unprecedented. So, and then on top of that, could have given diploma privilege with an option to take the bar exam now. This exam is pretty similar every time around. Make another one and have 2, 3, 4 bar exams throughout the year so that she wouldn't have, if she decided, like, I can't have a baby and continue the bar exam, she would have been able to turn around and take it in a couple of weeks or another month. Either way, it's not planned out, and people think like, they're going to be quiet, it's going to go away with, you know, the 2020 graduates and the 2020 bar exam takers, because not all of us are graduates from 2020 that had to go through this. It's not going away. Newsflash, it's not going away. We've picked apart, you know, we've ripped the band-aid off of, you know, this wound that they just left open, and everyone after us will see the flaws. They'll feel it, just as everyone before us felt it. People have complained about the bar exam for a very long time, but with this feeling of like, you know, with this feeling that this is not fair and this is unjust, they're going to do something about it because we've already started it, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm terribly frustrated, but I'm also really, really hopeful. Really hopeful.
And something that has sprung from that hope is the
Yes.
community fund for Black bar applicants. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So the community fund for Black bar applicants started, I believe the exact date was January 8th. um, I I just really felt frustrated to the point where I was like, I want to do something. Um, so a friend and I had been collecting funds from different people who just had interest in giving money to Black bar applicants, to help them through the bar exam, because we divulged to people like how expensive it is to take the bar exam, and the fact that the rate of the percentage of Black people passing the bar exam was so incredibly low. Like white people would pass at like 60%, and Black people would pass at what was it? There was one embarrassed. It was like one Black person in February 2020 out of how many people in that category? 14 or something like that.
Yes.
And then so but in February 2020, one Black person who went to an ABA accredited law school, that was a first time bar exam taker, passed the bar exam. Just one person, one Black person. So out of that frustration, seeing all these like articles and doing my research on the bar exam and just how worse off Black people were in all of this, I was like, what can we do to give relief to people? People were already interested in it because they were giving us money to give to other Black bar applicants. So I created my website for the community fund for Black bar applicants. I created a donation portal, and I started to talk to all the people who already said they were interested in donating, and I gave them a link. They started talking to their friends, and word of mouth just like spread really far. And then I gave the link to folks who I knew were taking the bar exam, who said they needed help, and they signed up. So basically, the premise of the organization is that if you are a Black bar applicant, meaning you identify as Black, um, and whichever way you identify as Black, you graduated from law school and you've registered or plan to register for the bar exam, you can receive $500 just for signing up once we receive the funds. And it allows for the legal community and other people who care about diversifying the legal community to support Black bar applicants. It can be so incredibly expensive to study for the bar exam. All of the registration fees, um, in California go up to, I think, $2,600. That's you're trying to get your just register for the actual bar. There's like a pre-registration thing that we had to do like the first year of law school. That was like 100 and something dollars. Then you had to pay a laptop fee to use your laptop. You have to pay
Your laptop.
to use your own laptop to take the exam. You have to take a laptop
Just
fee,
wanted
even
to
the
make
remote bar exam. So you need a laptop now. You didn't need a laptop before. Now you need a laptop. So that's an additional fee. And then you have your professional responsibility exam. The MPRE is just a multiple choice exam. It's also on the bar exam. So you have that fee. Yeah. And then you have your cost of living.
and
So
fee to have a background check, the moral character application.
moral character and fitness. Thank you. I was missing something. And then apparently once you pass, you also have to pay a fee to get your bar card.
Yes. And you have to pay to be fingerprinted as well.
This crazy. This is crazy. So, but that is very strenuous to a new graduate or anyone who's trying to take the bar exam, especially Black bar applicants at this time during the pandemic when we are like we have we're so disadvantaged, so, like economically. I mean, there's obviously successful Black people who can afford this and things like that, but when you look at the statistics all together, we are a lot more economically disadvantaged than other people. So how do you expect us to gain um like to gain traction in this area? Like, how do you expect us to become lawyers if majority of us can't even, we're living under the poverty line, and then you have all these fees. It's like a poll tax basically to become an attorney.
And for
Uh,
those who are not aware of this process, there's also the fact that typically you have to pay, if you expect to be successful, people generally pay for a bar prep course as well.
oh, that too.
So
That too.
after 3 or 4 years of law school, you of taking all of the subjects that will be tested on the exam,
Mhm.
you then pay a company to teach you how to take your state's particular exam. And of the either 15 or 16 topics that are testable, depending on how your state breaks things up, you can really only be tested on about 7.
Yeah.
So it takes, under normal circumstances, 10 weeks of full-time plus, so
Yeah.
40 hours a week plus studying for
Mhm.
this test nonstop.
Mhm.
And normally, you graduate in May, you take the test in July, you have these 10 weeks of uninterrupted study where you have no income because your student loans have ostensibly run out and don't
Yeah.
cover summer sessions. So if you don't have a job lined up,
Mhm.
which a lot of jobs will pay for your bar prep course, not necessarily all of the other fees that Octavia talked about,
Not
but
even all of them.
might, like maybe will
Mhm.
pay for your bar prep course. They won't pay for your living expenses. So on top of the student loans that you've taken out, many people are forced to take out private loans to cover the time between graduation and when they start their jobs after the bar. And
Mhm.
that can be, a $15,000 loan for those few months just to be able to eat and pay rent, because you should really just be studying and not doing anything else. Uh,
Mhm.
and then that is at a rate of interest that is, set by the market.
Mhm.
So whatever rate that you can be approved for and the amount that you can be approved for is what people are forced in a corner to do.
Yeah.
And so
19,
what you're
20%.
trying to do is alleviate some of that stress.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm trying to alleviate the stress from the cost of studying and paying for the bar exam. And I think that we have been accomplishing that. Like $500 isn't like everything. You know what I mean? It's not like even a quarter of what we need to pay for, but it's gonna get someone, um, you know, their meals that they need for, part of the time that they're studying, or it's gonna actually pay for their registration so that they can take the exam. You know what I mean? Like, it's a meaningful amount of money. And on top of that, we've been able to get resources like people are donating their flashcards, people are donating studying, some people are donating their houses for someone to stay while they're studying. So it's like we've we're taking donations, but we're also starting a conversation, and we're starting this like cycle, you know what I mean, where we're pinpointing this problem, and we're gonna really hone in on that and try to like um you know fix it, try to raise the percentage of Black attorneys by first starting with the people who go from being law students to trying to be attorneys. um and I think that's the most meaningful area to start with right now. That's where we can like pinpoint the specific problem and attack it. We have to attack the problem with the LSAT. We have to attack the problem with law schools admitting more Black people. We have to attack the pipeline to prison problem. All of those, but starting with getting people to pass the bar is a huge area, because the percentage of Black people not passing the bar is too low right now. And I know that if people can't afford to study for the bar, they're they're going to still try to sit for it. They're just going to try to self-study. They're going to try to work through it. You know what I mean? $500 could be a whole week off of work. So you can sit and study, and just focus on that. So it's been very impactful from what I'm hearing from people. And I've had people just call this is their last hope. They're calling, they're like, hey, I heard about your organization. I need to be able to pay for my registration fee tomorrow, or else they're going to kick me out. Like, I'm not going to be able to take this bar exam this cycle. And then I'm going to lose my post-bar job. That's how impactful. That's incredibly impactful to me. It's like, what if I didn't sit there and say, I've had enough of this. I'm going to start this organization and raise money. What would that person have done? Just not take the bar exam? Or to continue to draw funds from friends and family who already didn't have enough for themselves? So I'm so happy I created this organization. I'm so happy it's gaining such a huge amount of traction with bar applicants and with donors. We've had Barbary donate. Well, they're planning on donating $10,000. We've got Adaptabars donating. We've got even ExamSoft has donated. Themis, Kaplan, private firms, other attorneys. Just like, the word is getting around. People really care. They realize that, like, having Black lawyers is gonna create a lot of area for us to get in and become leaders in creating better laws and alleviating, so many disadvantages that we have here in the United States. Like, so many systematic problems. We need that representation. We need a place at a table where they're making decisions. And a lot of times, those people that are sitting at the table making big decisions are attorneys. So I know I have like big dreams, big goals, but I see it happening right in front of me, and it's only been a couple of months.
And it's being felt, just
Yes.
this interview happened because I saw on Twitter that you started an organization, and I said, I just launched this journal. I need to talk to her.
Right.
And I sent probably the most awkward DM ever.
It's okay.
But it was necessary, and I had to, put myself out there to say, your organization is doing wonderful things. We need more people hearing about it. And so that's why, we're here today, because like you said, if that person had just decided to sit this cycle out, like I'm sure many people have, that's a loss that
they are,
everyone feels, not just that person.
yes, exactly. Their whole entire family. That person is a father, and has to take care of his family. You know what I mean? And so he loses his post-bar job, and we're back at square one. So with student loans, still trying to pay for the bar exam expenses again. And yeah, you're forfeiting a lot of opportunities and going back into the hole.
Yes.
And he's not the only one. There's so many others that have shared with us their experiences. People who have been trying to sit for the bar for 4 years, but they had to stop so they can work, so that they can take work off and study for that whole time. 4 years, just trying to work to save up for the bar. It's almost like people trying to save for like a down payment on a house. It can get that expensive. They estimated at $15,000. Our financial aid people at my school, at least, estimated that it costs $15,000 to sit for the bar, to study uninterrupted for 3 months. So
that
yeah,
on top of with COVID, where normally you graduate in May, like I said before, you take the exam in July. A lot of people graduated in May and took the exam in October. So there was all of that time.
But the thing is, we didn't even know it was going to be in October. First, we thought it was going to be in September. Yes. And then it took a while for them to tell us that it wasn't going to be in July. So It wasn't like you could stop studying. We're just studying this whole time, thinking that it's going to be in July. Then we heard it was going to be in September. Maybe we took like a week or two off, but then you don't want to lose that information. so it wasn't like you could plan to stop and then start studying in August for the bar exam in October.
It was essentially another full term and a half of law school,
Law school.
but
That's it. It felt
dedicated
like
to a test.
it felt like that. So for people who want to support the community fund for Black Bar applicants, our website is blackbarapplicantfund.org, and our Twitter is at Black Bar App Fund, just APP. Definitely people should follow us on Twitter so that they can see some of the stories of the Black Bar applicants. I post their stories because so many of them have already been so impactful just as like law students or in their past jobs. Their bios have been phenomenal. You know, people who do work on critical race theories in different areas, or who've, you know, worked with different public service organizations, and who are just going to get out there and crush it, or people who plan to someday go into a law firm. They're going to crush it. We need that representation, and they should be celebrated in so many different ways. So I make sure that I try to, you know, post all the people who receive funds and who agree to be posted.
It's amazing. Well,
Yes.
Octavia, I want to say thank you on behalf of the whole board of the GGU Race, Gender, Sexuality, and Social Justice Law Journal, myself, of course. It's been wonderful talking to you. Is there anything else that you want anybody who might be tuning in to know about the fund?
I think that the fund is going to be around for a long time, but I don't want it to be around forever. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you're going to support the fund, support us in a way that you can help us end. You know, what does it mean for us to have the end of the organization? Our mission is to diversify the legal profession, but I specifically said that I want my mission to be attainable. So our mission is to raise the percentage of attorneys from 5% from, excuse me, let me clarify. The mission is to raise the percentage of Black attorneys in the United States from 5% to 20%. And hey, I put 2024 because I'm like, if we can get all Black bar applicants to pass, that might be a significant jump. It might bring us to 20% after 4 years. But yeah, that's a short time to turn around. But either way it goes, we're gonna still hit, when that mark is at 20%, then we will feel represented, because the population right now, there's like 13% of people in the US are Black, right? So if we can have 20% of us as lawyers, we're getting there. We're represented. You know what I mean? I think it could be even more. I'm similar to RGB in the sense that, or RBG, in the sense that, you know, I want to see the Supreme Court have all 9 Black justices at some point. But what I say that to say, our goal is to get the 20% Black attorneys, and then we will, you know, we won't need the fund anymore. We won't need the Black Bar Applicant Fund. We'll evolve into something else. So help us get to that goal in whatever way possible. If that is sharing information with other people about the statistics that I explained here, or the ones that you research yourself, or donating money, books, things like that. Or whether it be starting your own initiative to get more Black attorneys, going into a high school and saying, hey, I want to have a day where I speak to high schoolers about becoming attorneys, and, you know, be intentional about picking a high school that's diverse, that has Latinx people, that has Black people, that has Asian people. Be intentional about picking, you know, communities to speak to and uplift them and show them, hey, if you are interested in becoming an attorney, we need you. Like, we need to be on a huge recruiting effort. So help out in your own particular way. Our goal is to get to 20% Black attorneys at some time in the future. And that's it.
That's great. It's a wonderful goal. And I can't wait to see you have to close your doors.
I know, right? Just we're done. That's the mission. I don't think that all nonprofits need to be forever nonprofits. You know, like if your true mission is to help people, then the end of your mission should be in sight because people have been helped. And the problem that created the things that created the problem for those people need to be eradicated, right? So I learned that early on when I was working for a nonprofit in the Dominican Republic. I was volunteering for them. It's called Orphanage Outreach, or now it's called Outreach 360. Um, they have people go into orphanages and teach the kids English and like build on the orphanage and teach them how to like do different sustainable things, like a different way of like throwing the trash away, recycling things and stuff like that. And people who volunteer for that organization, on the outside, it may appear that they have white savior complex because most people in those organizations have that. But the structure of that organization was very different. It was like, we have a goal and then we're out. Like they don't stay at the orphanages. They create a source of income for the orphanage. So what we did was we planted plantain trees, and they had plantain and banana trees, acres and acres of it on the orphanage's grounds. So the place where I volunteered isn't even, no volunteers are there anymore. The orphanage is self-sustainable. They hire Dominicans to teach the kids English and whatever else courses. They have their now sustainable garbage and recycling infrastructure, and they sell plantain and bananas all around the world. It's done. That's how an organization, a nonprofit should be, in my opinion.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
great. Octavia, again, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. Certainly the highlight of my week.
Yeah, this is definitely definitely. It's been great to see a friendly face and a fellow comrade, someone who made it through the trenches. Yeah, and with pride, you should have pride for the fact that you made it through this, but we're definitely not going to be putting anybody else through this. Not if we have a choice.
I look forward to celebrating your results very soon.
Yes, it's going to come back. It's going to be great. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And for everyone who's listening in, we're going to have some links to resources for all of the things that we talked about a little earlier, so that you can not only educate yourself, but also help give to the fund.
Yes.
So thanks, everybody. Goodbye.